We all have memories, moments in our lives that we never forget. It was September 1993, and I was in my room folding this beautiful piece of fabric. It had a beautiful pink floral pattern on it, and I placed it on my head, aligned the edges perfectly, and I clipped it right below my chin. And I go downstairs to join my family for breakfast. As soon as I get down, my mother looks at me and says, "Honey, you don't need to wear that here. Take it off. The kids will make fun of you." And I'm standing there confused and wondering, what are the boys going to think about my hair? And it was my first day at school in America. We had arrived from Afghanistan by way of Iran, and in Iran, girls as young as 4 years old wear a headscarf as part of their uniform, though it's not religiously required until the age of 9. And I had grown a habit of wearing it already. In the West, the hijab or headscarf, or however way you would refer to it, is fairly unique still. But in the Middle East, it's very common. More specifically in Afghanistan, where the blue burqa is popular, it has a long history. Much before it was adopted by the religion, it was used for utilitarian purposes. We have a lot of sandstorms in Afghanistan. And women also like to keep a fair skin tone. So the burqa became the ultimate SPF. Other parts of the Middle East, aristocratic women, this is like biblical times, aristocratic women and women of high class, they were draped in regal fabrics. And for them, it was a way of distinguishing themselves, of showing that they have dignity and that they're noble women. And the women who were less clothed, well, those were the women being sold as slaves or women who were bathing in the harems. It's a contrast to how we view these women today. Today, when you see a woman who is completely clothed or veiled to that degree, we look at her and we think she must be oppressed. There must be a man making decisions for her. And we look at a woman who's in a bikini, we look at her and we think, that's a confident woman. She must be very empowered. It's really interesting to see the burqa depicted in the news and in pop culture, and more specifically, MIA and Lady Gaga appropriated this garment as a fashion statement, but to me it was a source of inspiration. For me, the burqa was a symbol of a country that I left a long time ago, of a culture that my family still tries to maintain, and a connection that I'm still trying to make. And so I took matters into my own hands and I wore the blue burqa on my way to school. And along the way, I could just feel all of the piercing stares from all of my fellow commuters and everyone else. But as soon as I arrived at school, I was confronted. The security guard would not let me in the building because I was wearing this veil. He insisted that it was for the safety of the students and that it was protocol to confirm my identity. But I had regularly had conversations with the security guard, so it really shocked me. It made me feel as though I was some sort of monster or a villainous terrorist. It really took me back, this experience. But this specific experience also inspired my work, where I took images of myself wearing different burqas made of candy. So the material itself is important for me because growing up in America, I really loved American candies, everything from Twizzlers to Pop Rocks, you name it, obsessed. And I wanted to use a material that also evoked these sorts of happy emotions and happy thoughts. And so it's hard not to have a reaction to a burqa made of gummy bears, right? Or one that's made of sour gummy worms. It definitely felt like I was buried in sand. But not all of the pieces worked out that great. I made one piece that wasn't so successful. It was made of Kraft's American single cheese slices. That smell really stayed with me. And one of my favorite pieces was one that's made of fruit roll-ups. And this piece took 5 of my friends over 4 hours with more than 500 rolls of fruit roll-ups. And I just remember standing there for 4 hours as they were building this sculpture on me, and with the heat of the lamps, as I'm sensing right now, it was just melting on my face, and that was quite an experience. But I wanted to see how others reacted to this piece, so I placed it in the gallery, along with a journal, asking for comments. I got some really interesting comments about the piece. One of which is, this gives me a sense that I have a heavy weight on my shoulder, yet it lights a fire in my belly. Another one is, I'm aroused by this. I just want... I just want to lick the fruit roll-ups right off of her body. It just goes to show, whether you put a woman in a veil or not, men will find a way to find her attractive. The burqa has a lot of oppressive and intense representation here in the media, and it's led me to want to change that discussion and want to open the conversation between East and West. And through my work, and especially with our Western Association of Edible Garments, I feel like it will help do that. I think this image in particular is striking because of the use of red, with the symbolism that are associated with the color, passion and war, intensity and excitement. My work has really led me to want to open this conversation. The burqa itself is just simply a piece of fabric. And through this work, I want to change the fact that in France, we are banning the burqa, and here in the United States, where we have security guards stopping women in veils, assuming that they're, a threat. So what I'd like to leave you with is, a veil is simply a piece of fabric. It's just as comforting as a hat and as protective as an umbrella. Thank you.